trying to open up my Excel right now, and here it comes. So you should be able to see the entire screen. It's one of my computers. Okay, this is a desktop. I like it much better than laptops. Laptops just sometimes are annoying. Okay, so pen version, that's fine too. Okay, that's the program we're using on this computer here. It's really basically the same. There are a few differences with the interface, but basically, the formulas and how to create formulas, etc. They don't change at all. So, all right. So we're gonna do the sales forecast today. What is that? The sales forecast is actually a list of your items, okay, and a list of the sales for a series of months or even years. So in this particular, excuse me, this particular example, we're going to do the months instead of the years, okay? We're going to do months, let's say 4 months, okay? We're going to do a forecast like that. So remember, this is my pretend, let me maximize that. This is my pretend business, all right? So let me just close out of here. And let's see. And I'm just going to do that so it won't be deleted. All right, so here is my interface. Okay. Now we're going to be doing the sales forecast, so I'm going to be naming this ABC Sales Forecast. And in that, I'm just going to list like 5 items in my little mini business, okay, for demo purposes, of course. And so the first thing I want to do is, again, I want to widen some columns here, okay? So let me just go in here. All right, close this. And I'm going to highlight from here to probably there. And then I'm going to widen my column, like so. I'm not going to touch the rows. Okay, so here, I'm going to put the name of my business. Sales forecast, okay? And then here, I am going to put my column titles. So I'll say items in this column. And here I'll say January. And I'm going to use the technique I showed you before. So we're going to do 4 months, okay? And then here we're going to put total. Okay? All right, so. And then here we're going to put 15%. I'll explain that in a minute. So let me just list my items. Jeans, leggings, bags, tops, what else? Dresses. And we'll just finish there, and I'm going to put a total right there. So let's say in January, and I'm going to keep the numbers really low, all right? Let's say in January I did 20,000, okay? And then for the leggings I did 25. For the bags I did, let's say 15. For tops I did, let's say 30, because people buy a lot of tops. Dresses, let's say 12 later. So what I want to do right now is I want to format this whole area where I know it's going to be all in currency. I'm going to go ahead and format in currency. So I'm going to click the dollar sign right there, okay? Now there's the 15%. So what I want to do now is I'm going to use this 15% to increase my sales from January through April by 15% every single month, okay? Now in class I usually would ask people what kind of calculation I would do, and most of my students are confused about that, and they couldn't do, only 1 or 2 could actually give me an answer. But anyway, since we're not face to face, I'm just going to give you the answer. So the mathematical calculation here, what the mathematical method we're going to do here is this. That is the percentage. I want to increase my sales month to month, okay, by 15%. So what do? This is fifth grade math. And we're going to do a formula for that, okay? So I would say, okay, want to increase that by 15%, and in this particular formula, I'm going to have to use um, parentheses, okay? Now, if you look at your book, it'll go and read the order of operations, how Excel actually does the calculation within a formula, okay, within a formula. At first, Excel will do multiplication and then division and then addition and then subtraction, okay? That's the order of preference. But the very, very first thing that it would do is the exponents, if you have any. And we're not going to be using any exponents in this particular, well, in this class we won't. And whatever's in parentheses in a formula, Excel will first calculate what's inside the parentheses, okay? So in this case, I have to explain to you about absolute cell reference, okay? So, and let me demonstrate to you what relative cell reference is. So whenever you have a formula and you copy, I told you Excel is all about copying, okay? Let's just say here, the calculation we want to do is we want to actually multiply this by this, right? And that's 15%. And then we're going to have to add it back to this, all right? And that would be the amount, that would be the 15% up, okay? Now, in a case like this, though, so here's a formula. Now, I want to copy that formula to April, and let's see what happens. All right, well. Looky there. That's wrong, obviously, right? You can't increase 23,000 by 15% in March and get the same amount of money. No way. So what did we do wrong? Well, I deliberately did it wrong to show you what relative addressing is. So if you copy a formula just like I did this one to these two cells, okay, that is relative addressing, meaning what it's doing here is it multiplied B3 times G1, correct? Yes. And then I copied it here, and so a relative addressing would be, if you're copying a formula to the right or in columns, it's going to move one column, one column, one column, one column. And if you're copying it down, it's going to move down rows, 1, 2, and 3. So we want this particular cell to be absolute. Read that in your book, please. Read that in your book. Absolute means this cell does not change address. It remains G1 forever. And how do we make this absolute? All right. I'm going to leave these formulas here because I'm going to just override it later. So in this case, we are going to do equals. In parentheses, we are going to multiply this times, times I can't see. I need a light. Hold on a minute. Let me turn on my light here so I can see. All right. Now I can see. All right. Times this, and we're going to have to make that absolute, so we're going to add dollar signs before the column and before the row. So the column being G, the row being 1. So I'm going to go ahead and add those dollar signs. Boom. There. Close parentheses. Close parentheses. And then we're going to add that back to this. Okay? And enter. Now, sorry. Now I'm going to copy this formula all the way there. Now there you go. So if we go and look at this, G1 is the same. G1, it stays the same because that cell right now is absolute, meaning it never changes. So now, I told you Excel is all about copying, correct? All right. So now I'm going to copy this all the way down to dresses. And there you go. Half of my sheet is already finished. Actually, 3/4 of it. So now, what do I do here? You remember? I'm going to do the auto sum. Okay? And do I want to add B3 to B7? Yes, I do. Press enter. And then what do I do with this? I copy it. Okay? I copy it until I get that one right there. And then here, I want the total of the row. What do? I go back here. I do sum. Okay, I enter that. And then I copy this down to here. Voila. Okay? So now my sheet my worksheet is complete. So now I'm going to format this sheet because we're going to have to be doing this every single time. Okay, I'm going to format this and just go to there. That's my title. And I'm going to go to merge the center. Just like so. And I'm going to colorize the font. Let's see, maybe a red. And colorize the inside of it. Oh, wait a minute. I did something. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to make it bold, like that. And I want to make it larger too. Okay, larger, 14. Now I want to do the column titles. I'm going to center them, center align them, and I'm going to give coloration as well. Actually, I'm going to use, let's see, that's why I love a desktop and a mouse, because it's so much easier. It doesn't screw up just like a laptop does. And I'm going to embolden that, and let's see, I want some coloration here. Make it purple. All right. And then for this, I am going to do a border. Okay, all borders. And I'm going to colorize the inside of it. Let's just say this color here. And do that and this. There you go. Now it's all dressed up. All dressed up, pretty and stuff. Okay, now we're going to have to create, I'm going to have to put an if right here, an if statement. Okay, that's part of the sales forecast. So this is big time. A little bit complicated on the if. If is a logical statement, okay? We're going to use the formulas tab to help us with that. It's a lot easier. Okay, an if statement has got 3 arguments, okay? So I'm going to show you those arguments. So what we're going to do is, why do I have to use an if statement? Well, if you are a business person and you have 1,000 inventory items, okay, you're not going to look, line by line as a CEO and go, okay, that's pretty good. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's good. No. You want to do an if statement, as a matter of fact. That's how I do your grades. I'm not about to do line by line 165 people and say, okay, let me calculate them in my calculator. No, 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 no. Okay? You put in one formula and then you copy it all the way down. And how do you do that? Let's go then. So what we want to find out here is this. Look at the total column right here. Look at this. So the highest number you have is excluding the total. You do not include the total when you're determining your highest number, okay? Because the total is the total. We're going to go to, let's say, 149. That would be F6, the tops, okay? So that's the you have is 59,000. So what I want to do here is in my argument, okay, the first argument would be a statement, your logical statement, your criteria, if you want, okay? And then the middle argument would be, if that is true, you put an adjective there and you say, oh, very good. The last argument would be, would be false, okay? And so if it is false, you're going to put an adjective that would describe as bad, saying needs improvement or something like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to formulas, and we're going to formulate our if statement. And we're going to go to if. Right there it is. All right. All you got to do now here, and you're going to have to remember this because when you go off to your business classes, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, they're going to expect you to know this back and forth. Okay, your logical test would be if this, okay, if this were greater than, you're going to have to use your comparison operators. Look in your book for your comparison operators, okay? If that is greater than or equal to, let's pick a number that is in the middle of 149,000 and 59,000. I would go to 80,000. That would be my logical test. If that were true, value if true would be good. Okay? Would be good. And if it's a false statement, then we'll say NI needs improvement. All right? So then I'm going to click OK here. No, that is, 80,000. No, 80,000. That's 99,000. Okay, let me redo this. That's not correct. Let me do it again. Let me do it again. Because that should have been okay. And that needs improvement. Okay. The logical test would be equals. We're not going to put equals because this is just, we're filling the blank in here. So if this cell is greater than or equal to, and I said 80,000. 1, 2, 3. And then value of true would be good. Value of false would be needs improvement, and I. Okay? That's an 80,000, so that should be good. And then we're going to copy this formula all the way down to here. Okay. So all the ones that are higher than 80,000 are actually labeled good, which is correct. So that right there, ladies and gentlemen, would be your if statement. Okay. So now the next thing, and I'm going to colorize this as well. So let's just go ahead and go back to home for that. Colorize that like so, and there, and there you go. Now what I want to do is I want to border this too, okay? Because I didn't have it on there earlier. So let's go outside border, correct. So now we're going to create one column chart for this, one column chart. So what we'll do is, before we do that, we're going to have to delete this. You know why? Because it includes it as a month, and it's not a month. So we're going to delete it before we even select our data series for this. So we're going to select our data series, and we're going to go from here to there, down to dresses. Never include totals for your charts. Never. Okay. So now I have my data series. I go to Insert Now. Come on. Insert. And I'm going to go to my column chart. And I want the 3D column. Okay. And there it is. So now I'm going to, put this right there. Okay. And then I will, this is your legend right here. This is your y-axis, and this is your x-axis. And that's the reason I had to take items out, because it's going to include it like it was, one of these. Okay. So here are the jeans, the leggings, the bags, the tops, and the dresses. All right. Let's see. And then January would be there in blue. Okay. So now let's let's format this thing, and we're going to go to format chart area. Okay, and then we're going to do gradient fill. This is my favorite one. I don't use the other ones, but you can explore if you want to. And I'm just going to go to the preset colorations, and I'm going to use something fancy. How about this? Okay, and I'm going to close that. Okay, so we're done with our sales forecast. Okay, we're done with our sales forecast. So I'm going to save this. So this is the end of this video. Okay.